what do you see as like the most common challenge you would see a young doctor who is transitioning into pharmaceutical? What do you see the most glaring challenge for them?
Yeah, as I said, I think it comes from the challenge, that I experienced as well, in terms of getting more focused, understanding what. First of all, as I said, even when you're going for the interview, you need to understand the company and the industry, right? So I think when you start off, or when a doctor starts off, these are important areas. Number one, right, about understanding the industry and more importantly, understanding the company. Then understanding the industry comes in. Number two is um, you need to be, I keep using the word focus, but that's basically it, right? How do you focus yourself on the science, right, around that medicine? Basically, having, coming in and getting a grip of the knowledge, right, around a certain medicine. So, for example, if new doctors are coming and applying into the company or industry, right? One piece of advice I would give is know the pipeline of that company well, right? All these companies. So if you're coming in for an interview, if you have that knowledge at the back of your mind, you would understand. And then this becomes even more obvious when you join a company or you're taken in, right? The ability to understand the pipeline, the clinical research. Yes, so that's another area. So while we're in practice, we don't think that much about clinical research. The minute you put your foot into the industry, clinical research becomes very important. Different phases, drug development, drug discovery. This is another area that's important. So again, for doctors who want to get into the industry, sort of familiarize yourself with these elements, right, of clinical research, right? Especially drug discovery, drug development, and subsequently different phases of clinical research. I think these are the top line things, Selena. Of course, it goes a bit deeper, right? For doctors, but if you're applying, know the industry, know the company, know the pipeline, understand certain elements of the industry.
Can you elaborate on the pipeline?
Okay, so I think when you go online, for example, if you were to Google any company, you would go into, obviously they would talk about the company and the history, what the company stands for, and then the product portfolio, etc. And invariably, companies do have a section on the pipeline. Now, what the pipeline is the companies are doing R&D, research and development for their portfolio. So when we say the portfolio, for example, medicines to treat diabetes, right? Now, if the company is focused on diabetes, they would actually be looking at conceptual research. That means the initial research on, different types of compounds that could work for diabetes, right? And this is probably done in a lab. And then they would then go on to obviously doing, if they find a compound that works at a lab level, then they would start doing the different tests, right? And it comes down to research in human beings, right? So you've got your phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So the pipeline actually are these different compounds that the company has either developed on their own or maybe have, medicines by maybe acquiring another company or buying it from another company, etc. So all these medicines then fall into the pipeline of the company. So as I said, you would have, and some of them would be very early, conceptual phase, early phase, and then they go on right down to your medicines that have gone through all these trials, and have been finally you come to the point where medicine is done, or trial is done on a medicine or a study in a big group of patients, and you found that it is safe, the medicine is safe, and it works, and therefore it's put up for approval by the regulatory authorities, right, in the country. So pipeline is basically medicines that a company would work on in terms of developing it, right down to the trials for a portfolio the company works on. Example, diabetes or hypertension. Yeah.
So portfolio, would that mean the disease or the products?
Essentially, it's both. It's disease and the products, right? So, for example, many companies today are working on medicines, oncology, or cancer, right? So, it's obviously the disease area. And within the disease area, there may be certain areas to focus on. So, for example, if it's cancer, it could be lung cancer or breast cancer. And in tandem, you're looking for products, compounds, whether it be, as I mentioned earlier, from within your own laboratories or within your own labs, to sort of treat these diseases, or whether you're looking outside, right? So yeah, so to answer your question, it's both disease and the products themselves, right?
Join disruptive doctors. Oh, oh, disruptive doctors.